So actually I was trying to figure out what today's topic should be, and then I was in the middle of Kiddush Levana last night, and I said, you know what, why don't we do Kiddush Levana? But not the best thing to decide the last night to prepare a shir, because you don't know what you're getting into. Well, it's farm you have available, you know how it works. But in any case, that's what it is, Kiddush Levana. Figured we do it once a month, and shilos do come up, so it's definitely an interesting Gemara here. The Gemara is in Sanhedrin, for those that have been doing Daf Yomi, and it's this week's Parsha. It's this week's Parsha. Hashem showed Moshe Kozer Roh v'Kaddish. Now, we just do Kiddush Levana, but you know, it's a different mitzvah Kiddush Levana, but there's a mitzvah of actually being B'Kaddish to Chodesh and making Rosh Chodesh. That we're not going to discuss really how the Eidim see the moon and the whole process of Kiddush HaChodesh. That's actually a fascinating topic in itself. But we're just going to talk about the mitzvahs that we do, which is Kiddush HaChodesh. What?
You say L'zecher Nishmas David Shlomo ben Sindel?
Yeah, why not? Who's that? Shlomo ben Sindel.
I had a cousin who
Sindel.
Sindel. Had Down syndrome my age. He's older than me. Passed away about 5 years ago.
Shavin Aliyah.
I think we had one more. Miriam Basiana.
Basiana, his mother-in-law.
Judy's mother-in-law.
No, Judy's mother.
Judy's mother. Judy's mother.
Judy's mother.
My mother-in-law.
Oh, Judy's mother.
Yeah.
No, never. We say get low.
Okay, so the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, Kol ha-mevarech. Yeah, we'll start a little earlier.
Business class, huh?
Business class.
No class.
Okay, the Gemara is talking about the ages of the Ibra HaChodesh, but the Gemara says like this. Till when could you make, and we'll discuss this later, till when could you make the Kiddush HaChodesh? Till when could you actually do it? So he says, Acha to smala pegimasa. We'll discuss that. Till it fills up the pegimas halvana. The Gemara says, until what day could you do it? So until the 16th day. Fine. The Gemara says like this. Gemara, it's a question. When the moon goes down, you should make hatoiv ha-meitiv, a bad thing. The moon's going down. You know, the moon goes down, it's bad. So the Gemara says that we don't do that because it happens kind of orche. It happens every month. So you make a bracha on that. Okay. Zok the Gemara. If you make a bracha on the chodesh in its proper time, as if you're going out to greet the Shechina. Now we'll see this line is, you know, sounds Haggadah-dik, you know, you're going out to greet the Shechina, because in a moment we'll see it has halachic interpretation here. But it's as if you're going out to greet the Shechina. It says Chodesh Hazeh, and it says over there Zeh Keli V'Anveyu. It says Zeh Chodesh Hazeh Lochem, and it says Zeh Keli V'Anveyu. So when you greet the moon, it's like you're greeting the Shechina. And we say this in the Kiddush Levana. We say this Gemara actually. That if all this is the only mitzvah we had to greet the Shechina once a month by saying Kiddush HaChodesh, Kiddush Levana, that would be enough. Even if that was the only mitzvah we had, that would be enough. Therefore, we say it standing up. We'll come back to what that means. They shoulder together and say the bracha. What's the bracha they make? Ravacha said, Rashi, rather than make a bracha, Baruch Mechadish Chodashim. I don't know what this Gemara's question is. Our woman also makes a bracha. As the Kollel Ohr points out, the women don't make Kiddush Levana like we'll see soon. But he says, that bracha, even a woman make. When do they make this bracha? I'm not sure. So the Gemara says it means say Baruch Hashem Baruch Shchakim Baruch Piv Kol Tzvam Chag Gizman Nosan Lahem Shanos Tafkidam. And maybe we'll go through the bracha at some point. Okay. That's the Gemara. So we make a Kiddush HaChodesh, and we make a bracha, and we bless the moon. We're not blessing the moon. We're being Mekabel Pnei HaShechina. What kind of bracha is this? Where do we find such a bracha? What do you find a similar type of bracha? We make a bracha Chama once every 28 years. We make brachas on the thunder and lightning. If you go to the ocean, you make a bracha. Yam HaGadol, Rosh says Yam HaGadol. You make a bracha. Maisa Bereshis. Sometimes. So there are brachas that we make. So there's a question: what's the type of bracha? There's certain brachas mitzvahs, and there's certain brachas hanenin. If you eat something, you make a bracha. You have anah. And there's certain brachas brachas hashvach. Just saying a shvach to Hashem. And it seems to be a question where this fits in, and we'll see what nafkamina la'alocha has, where this fits in. But the simple understanding would be it's a birchas hashvach. Hashem created the luminaries. Hashem created the Mamar with His words. Baruch Chakim created the heavens with all the lights in it, and we make a bracha when the moon is the schadish, when it comes out back every month. Now,
like the bracha we make for the first blossom.
Yeah, you make it by the trees also, right? When it comes out. Okay, now so we have a few halachas here. So one halacha is you do this. When do you do this? You do this. We do it at night. We'll see about Matzah Shabbos in a moment. When the moon is shining, and you have hana from it. You ever see people take their tzitzis? You ever see it? People take the tzitzis and count it under the moon. So that's I'll pee. Why the tzitzis? I'll be Kabbalah as far as why they take the tzitzis out and count it. They have to be nena. They want to be nena from the Ohr Halavana.
It's usually not that.
It's actually brought down that they take the bottom of the from the Rav brings down from the shlah, the end of the beged, shake the end of the beged. So the tzitzis is on the edges of the beged. So you manar the ends of the beged. That's the. Is
that hana? Is that supposed to be a hana?
It's supposed to be hana. Yenanin.
But it's hard because it's just a sliver.
Yeah, so we don't really have that because this was very sliver, and we'll get to that. And also, we have so many lights of the city here, and you're probably not, if you're out in the forest, maybe you'd have hana, you'd be able to do that. But
a lot more hana in the middle of the month.
Right.
I did see. What was the svara for that? Where it ends at a beged. Chadash. I'm offhand here, but okay. But we'll see if we come across it. But anyways, so that's a meaning some people have. It's brought that. But the idea is you have to be nena. You're supposed to be nena from the or. So if it's a birchas hanenin, okay. So if I'm not nena from the light, I can't make a bracha. There's a question: could a blind person, for example, make a Kiddush Levana? So the Marshal says a blind person can make a Kiddush Levana because he also has hana from the moon. Because if he's stuck in the forest at night and there's another fellow next to him, the other fellow will be able to walk him around because he gets he could see where he's going because of the moonlight. So he also has benefit from the moon, and therefore a blind person can make the bracha. Maybe Kash is choyluk on it, but it seems that the halacha seems to follow the marshal because it's brought down, and the Tazbog Avam brings down that so he doesn't actually have to physically get pleasure this moment. Since he conceptually gets pleasure from the Ohr Levana, so it's enough for him to make the bracha. So that would seem not actually make a bracha right now because this moment I had hana. This moment maybe I'm not having hana from the moon. It's just in general I could have hana from the moon, so I can make a bracha from it. But on the other hand, the Chuvas Radvaz brings down, if let's say there's a block between you and the moon. Okay, let's say there's a roof. You're in the house and there's a roof. I don't see the moon, but there are people having enough from the moon. I'm going to have enough from the moon. Conceptually, there's people having enough from the moon. That's not enough. I actually have to see the moon. I have to have some kind of pleasure from it. So it seems that the marshal is moided to. Because that, even a guy who can normally see wouldn't have pleasure from the moon in this situation, so therefore you can't make a bracha. So you see, it's not so clear. If you learn,
define pleasure.
Any benefit you get from the moon. So, so that seems to be a question. So they try to reconcile the two. In other words, that as long as there are people that could have pleasure from the moon in this situation, then he can make a bracha. Even though he's not actually seeing it because he's blind. But if he's standing under an overhang where he cannot see the moon, so then even a person that could see wouldn't be able to see it, then he can't make the bracha. So you see, there is this concept you have to be nen and me'ora, hagam, that he's not necessarily like the blind person is getting this moment of physical pleasure from the moon. But since he could, that seems to be enough.
Is it a kavana issue? In other words, a blind person, the best kavana that they can offer, they'll never be able to see the moon. But somebody who can see it and doesn't make the effort to see it, maybe there's not enough kavana?
No, we have to know what the criteria for making the bracha is. He has to meet that criteria, and if he doesn't meet it, he can't make the bracha. Same question we had by Havdalah, right? Could a blind person make a Eish? Right? He's not having enough from it. But here, by Kiddush Levana, it seems that the poskim lean towards the marshal that he could make the bracha. There are those that say it's perhaps better if someone else is might see him. Someone else's might see him's bracha. What was my argument to give the shir actually was I walked outside to say Kiddush Levana, and a guy came over to me, could I be might see him? Why am I being might see him? Because he actually said the Kiddush Levana, and then he wasn't sure if there was a Levana out at the time that he said it. Because the cloud was covering it, and he was all nervous if he was Yaitzer Mitzvah. So I was might see him. But, we'll get to that also.
Would a blind person have to have somebody there who could see?
No, he doesn't have to. He could say it himself. According to the marshal, he could just say it himself.
How would he know that there's one that's
there? No, he has to know the moon's out, yeah.
So he would only know.
They give a clap and shul, they say there's a moon, everybody go out and say, So he could go say, but yeah. But that's the halacha. So if it's a birchas hanenin, then you would really actually have to have physical hana, but it seems it's more birchas hashvach. But in order to give this shvach, you would have to have some kind of benefit from it, and that's what you do. The halacha-taka comes out, it's better if someone else is moitzi him.
For the blind
person. But if not, he could be yoitzi himself. Now, it's better if a person is moitzi him. Now, but that's a blind person, but if he's outside under the moon, but someone that's not outside under the moon, he cannot say the bracha. He can only say it when he's outside. That's why the minhag is, we'll see another reason the minhag is, but let's say someone is bedridden and he's in bed, right? So could he say the bracha through the window? So really, why not? There's a moon out there and he's being netted from the Ohr Levana, shining through. So why not? Let him say. Why does he have to? Why can't you say it inside? So there's two reasons why a person shouldn't say it inside. One reason has nothing to do with seeing the moon. It's actually all the way at the end of the simon. The Haramah says, "Ve'ein mekadshin halavana tachas hagag." You're not mekadosh the moon under the roof. Why not? Vatam. Shabur brings down here from the Gemara. Since Kiddush Levana is like you're being makabel pnei hashchina, you're going out to greet the Shechina. Ein zeh derech covered that you're standing under the roof. In other words, if the king was coming by, you wouldn't stay in my own place there, wait till the king comes to me. You go out to the king. So sort of, you're standing under the roof, that means you're still at home, and you're waiting for the king to come to you. You go out to the street to greet the king.
But a sick person?
Huh?
A sick
Somebody's
person?
sick.
No, not someone sick, but a regular person that could get out, so it's not there covered if he stands under the roof.
How could someone
So-
be yikes to him? He's not in the parsha of this mitzvah. How can, what did it be yikes?
No, we're saying assume really is chayim. That's what we came
We
out.
said made the rices he doesn't have.
No. Oh, because assume was part of all mitzvahs.
Yeah. So he's not
Yeah,
in
but
the
he could-
parshas. How could be yikes to somebody for something he doesn't
It could be
have?
mighty assume a kiddush, all mitzvahs. It could be mighty assume.
He doesn't have the mitzvah.
Yeah, but he's like Noshim, that they could do it if they want to. If you hold someone's part, yeah. Okay, so you can go under the gag, you go out, because that's greeting. Where do you see this in the Gemara? The Gemara says, quotes the Gemara says, Mekasvi u'mavarchi. What is Mekasvi? What does it mean they shouldered together? So one pshat in the Gemara here is Mekasvi means that they went out as a group together. They went out as a group together, and they were, even though it's not so clear in the Gemara, Gemara just says they did it as a group. And we'll see that's the mitzvah. The mitzvah is to do it. We do it with a minyan, to do it at least, you should do it with 3 people. But like you're welcoming someone coming to town, you don't go out yourself. You get a whole group. You know, outside comes to the city, the whole group goes out to meet him. So your makasvi adori means they like not so much arm in arm, but to shoulder, they went out together to greet the Shechina. So somehow you see from there, Moshe has a tshuva, how exactly you see from there, but somehow you see from there that if they went out as a group, so you should go out. Makasvi adori means you should go out. You shouldn't be standing underneath the roof. You should go out to greet the Shechina. So that's one reason. Okay, obviously a chaylu can't go out, doesn't have to go out, so he'll say Kiddush Levana from his room. The other question is to do it derech hachalain. So there's the Dvar Shmuel says it's only lechatchila, because perhaps through a window. Now we have very clear windows that you could see straight through, and but in the old days windows weren't as clear, and maybe you'd be mistaken. It's not really the moon you're seeing over there; it's something else. It was actually I saw Shalom Zalman, they're going down there, that someone made Kiddush Levana, and then he realized that it wasn't a moon; it was a street lamp out in Yerushalayim. And how you confused the moon for the street lamp. So he wanted to know, was it Yoitz Kiddush Levana? Because there was a moon out. There was a moon outside, but he looked at the Levana. He really looked at the street lamp. It must have been from further away, and he didn't realize. So the question is, he wanted to know if he was Yoitz his mitzvah. So I said, well, the Levana was out, so it's not worse than a suma. He didn't see the moon, but the moon was there. So he's Yoitz. But he could, this fellow that's sitting in the room, he may look outside and it may be a street lamp that he's seeing. It's not actually the moon. So therefore, it's not l'chatchila to look it through the thing. But if the people outside see the moon, so people outside the window, and they're saying it outside, and they see it, and they tell him, no, there's a moon out there. You're seeing the moon. Then he could actually do it through the window.
We have the roof problem. This is only for Kollel or something?
Yeah, Kollel. Only for someone that can't go outside. If someone's bedridden, he can't go outside. So,
what if the Kollel can't see the moon at all, even through a window, and he's in bed? Can he still say it? Somebody else can look at the moon for him, or something like that. He's in bed and
he can't see it. If he can't see it, if he's not getting from the light from the window, then he cannot say it. Mm-hmm. He has to move himself towards the window where he can actually see it.
We don't make the tzrichas kavana.
And the Shartzian actually speaks this out later here. Shartzian speaks this out. So he says, as long as you know for sure that what you're looking at is the Ohr Levana, what's shining at you is the Levana, and not some other kind of shine. So he says, it's l'chatchila to actually open the window. But if you can't, so then you could just do it as is through the window. That's the Naglalim does it through the window if they're bedridden and they have no other eitzah. They even go so far to Shuvas go to Scar. Can I do it? Can I look through my glasses? Can I do it through my glasses? All the poskim say that you could do it through the glasses. It's not a shiloh. You don't have to take off your glasses and look at the moon and put it back on. You could look at. You might find some briskers doing that, but basically.
Is that called kavana if you had the lamp in mind? Because you thought there was a moon?
Yeah, because the Bible said there was a moon out there. That's what he's saying. There was a moon.
Do we hold mitzvahs to this kavana?
You're not blessing the moon. Just because you had enough on the moon, you're making a bracha. Oh. Okay, so that's as far as seeing it. Now, what about if it's cloudy day? How much you have to be nena from the moon? How much do you have to be nena from it? So the halacha says like this. Here. First he says, you can see it actually on the ground. In other words, it shines down. He says, if you have clouds in the sky, so if it's a thin, weak, this is where it gets very murky. If it's a thin, layer of clouds, so you could still see the moon and have enough from it, so then you can make the bracha. If it's a thicker cloud, then you can't make the bracha. So how exactly do you figure out if it's a thinner cloud or a thicker cloud? That's the real question here. So some say it has to have a shine. If there's a shine coming out, there's a bright shine coming out. It's behind the cloud, but there's a shine coming out, then you can make the Kiddush Levana. Some say it's enough that you could actually see the outline of the entire moon. That's enough. Call it it's Nikar Halavana, and you nena from it. That would be enough to make the bracha.
And it's only for a minute. What's the duration?
We'll get to that in a moment. Yeah,
good
that's a
question.
second. But Yosef says you actually have to have hana from the light, but.
It's hard to tell these days.
But that's very hard to get. If you go like that, behind a cloud, many times you wouldn't have that. It's hard to tell because we're in a city. Very hard to tell.
I know, it's just pleasure from seeing it. It could be.
That?
Hana is just the pleasure.
It could
from
be,
seeing
yeah, it could be. It's mashma. Even just the
fleeting.
pleasure from seeing it might be enough.
A
Yeah.
glimpse would be okay.
Yeah,
If you have to actually have the light.
Shine on you is much harder to get. Right.
It's a blessing for Hana or for Shevach?
So that was the question. Is it a birchas hanenin or is it a shvach? L'mais, it seems it's a birchas hashevach, according to most poskim.
So why do you need Hana?
But the hana is you can't make the bracha unless there's hana. Unless there's some kind of benefit you're having. So that's all you make the bracha. So
You have to get a tan.
let's say the clouds are moving. The moon is coming in and out, in and out. So some say that it's enough. Here, it brings down here. Really, l'chatchila, you should try to say it the whole bracha when the moon is out. So you should try to mashayir. Okay, the next cloud's coming, but I have enough time to say the bracha. Then that's how I should say it when it's going in and out of the clouds. But the Eved, even if it's out for a moment and you see it, that's enough, and you could start making the bracha right away. He brings down here. Reb Chaim Sanzer, he brings down that even if you didn't even start before it was covered again, in other words, you see it, and then it got covered, but you didn't yet start making the bracha, he still says, l'chatchila, you can still make the bracha. Others argue on that. So that's a question if you could start the bracha if it's already covered. But definitely if you started the bracha when it's uncovered, you're definitely okay. If you started the bracha, as long as there was a part, and how much of the moon? You don't need the whole moon to be uncovered. As long as a little part of it's uncovered, that's shining brightly, so that's enough to actually make the Kiddush Levana. So if you got that, So you were actually Yotzei.
That's how we paskin.
What?
We paskin.
That's how we paskin. Yeah, halacha b'ais. It's best to wait until it's a little
Completely
more.
exposed, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you judge if it's bright or not bright?
That's what we're saying. If you can see the outline, some say it's enough, and some say it has to actually shine. It really should have some kind of shine coming out through the clouds.
So you could actually have some wisps of clouds that are
Going
kind of
through, yeah.
right. So long as you can really.
Right. Now, women don't make this bracha. Why not? Noshim apata from Kiddush Levana, and the reason it's a mitzvah seisha as man grama. Okay, like any mitzvah that comes time to time, they're potter from. They're potter. There's two issues with this. The first issue is the alumnish question. In other words, it's not really Zman Grama. It's caused by the moon. In other words, Zman Grama means it's time bound. This is not time bound. This is dependent on the moon coming out. There's a cause. A mitzvah that has a specific cause, right? For example, it's a whole question of Sfir Sa'imer. There's a mitzvah that says Shazman Grama. Is this a time bound? Or is it caused by the bringing of the Aimer? In other words, if there's something that's causing it to happen, that doesn't mean necessarily it's time bound. That just means you need a cause to happen. And until that happens, let's say thunder. Thunder is I make a bracha. That bracha I make, right? That's not time bound. That's you need the thunder in order to make the bracha. So here also you need a moon to shine in order for me to make the bracha when the moon comes up. So perhaps that's not considered time bound. Just the Shlomo Kluge asked this question. So the Moshe says, "L'maisa, since this cause always comes exactly the same time every month, it comes 29 days, right? And a half days, 29 and a half days, and Tavshin Sada Gimel Chalakim. We'll see about that soon. The exact time it comes, the Moilid, it comes very specific times. So even though it's caused by the moon coming out the bracha, but that's also time bound because the time is kavur to come at a specific time every single month. So that's considered time bound. So the women don't make the bracha.
Sometimes you see the moon during, like, towards the end of the day.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about that. We're going to speak about that. That's a good question. Yeah. So if it's time bound, so that's considered time that they don't make the bracha. Fine, but we find by the Kiddush Levana even more that we don't encourage them to do it. You know, certain mitzvahs we encourage women to do, certain ones we don't. Shayfer we encourage them. You know, lulav they do the mitzvah.
Could they do it? Could women do?
So could they do Kiddush Levana? So l'chayra, why not? They could do. As Mashma in the Gemara, Hani, the shaded anami mevarch, and they also make that bracha. In other words, it sounds like the woman could make the bracha. The Magen Avraham brings down from the Shlach Kodesh that al pi Kabbalah, the women don't make the bracha. Why? Because this is what he writes there. They caused the Pegimas Halvana. They're the ones that caused the moon to dwindle every month, to go down. So it's not proper that they should make the bracha when it comes back out. Now you want to know why? Where do we know that they're the cause of the dwindling of Levana? That's a question that you have to look a little more into. But it seems that because of the chait of Adam Arishan, which was caused by Chava, that caused that the moon does not shine straight out throughout. We have scientifically it goes around.
Construct the universe to do that.
Well, we know it was reconstructed because we know initially that the moon was shining like the Chama, right? And then there was a machlokes that the sun and the moon had, that who's the king, and so Hashem lowered the moon, right? So there's I don't know how schwer that question is, right? But all we see today is after. We have to understand that everything we see today is after the Sheshis Yemei Bereishis. What happened during the Sheshis Yemei Bereishis could have been very different. Nothing was solidified until after Sheshis Yemei Bereishis, which the Chet of Adam and Chava actually happened Friday going into Shabbos, which was before it was ended. Now, We find also differences that by the marble. Look in the sport over there by the marble that the right, it says the seasons were different before the marble, after the marble. Some say that the world wasn't on an angle; it was straight. Some say it was a little different. Well, different things changed by different periods. But in any case, al pi Kabbalah, it seems that we blame the woman for everything. So she's the cause of the Pegimus Halvana, and therefore she doesn't actually do the Hem Garmu Pagam Halvana. Oh, okay. Now. The question was, does it have to be Balayla? We said it has to be at night. It has to be at night. So you ask, what about if you see, many times you see the moon, but before the night you could see it. So actually, Me'ikra Din says clearly, Balayla, and the Mishnah says, Lafuke Bein Hashmashas, even Bein Hashmashas it sounds like you can't do it. Shalavana Niris Ktsas, still can have the moon, Vadayin Huyayb. Now you can actually ask a question on this, because if you learn Rashi this week's parsha, so Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu the moon by the moiled. He showed him what the moon looked like by the moiled. It's actually a Brisker Rav has a whole question. Why do you have to show him what the moon looks like? As long as you can see a little bit of the moon, that's the moiled. The way it works is that the moon gets completely covered, right? The moon gets completely covered because the sun is not shining on that side. The moon is completely covered. And then it starts coming out. So as soon as a sliver comes out, you can already see it. It sounds like there's a shear. Hashem had to show Moshe Rabbeinu, Kazer Rav Kadosh, this is enough of a shear that you can be Mekadosh Levana. As long as you can see the moon, that should be enough. Once we see the moon, it's already moved over enough that the sun could hit that angle of it. So that's.
But in the day, you see yellow. You're really seeing the sun through the moon. You're not getting the white color. You're getting a yellowish color.
Which way it's pointing?
Before and after the noon, when it comes, when you can see in the day, it's not really.
Sometimes you could see a nice white moon in the day.
Right.
You wake up early, you could see a beautiful moon.
Yes.
So someone actually asked me. He woke up early in the morning and he saw a beautiful moon. He wanted to know if he could say Kiddush Levana. I was getting at the end. He wasn't sure if you see the moon at night. So this is a shaila. Could you say the moon? So here it says by the nighttime you have to wait till it's dark to say it. You can't say it. And actually, in the beginning of the month, you won't get the moon sometimes because the moon sets. The moon actually sets before you finish Mariv sometimes and come out at night. That's why you have to wait a few days in. Anyways, Allah has wait a few days in, but sometimes practically you got to wait a little bit in because the moon sets quicker in the beginning of the month. You won't see it.
So could he say it? Was he able to say it in a day?
Wait, patience. So he says here that if it's at night, you have to wait till it actually gets to the nighttime. Okay?
What's the definition? Like the 2 stars?
3 stars, yeah. 3 stars come out, then you could say Kiddush Levana. In the daytime, the Tshuva says perhaps after Alois HaShachar, if it's still dark outside, and you can still have anah from the moon, he says perhaps you could still make the bracha. It's a chiddush because it seems that you have to do it at night. But he wants to say that even in the morning after Alois could be 4 o'clock. It could be quite early, and it could be still quite dark outside. And if the moon is still shining, so then you could make the bracha finena from it. Others say Yaskel Lavni says you can't make the bracha. Others say depends, but if it's still dark, perhaps then you can make the bracha. Once it's light and there's still a moon in the sky, sometimes it's light, but you still see the moon, then that's not called Yenena from the Ohr Levana, then you wouldn't be able to. But before Shkia, or by Shkia, before it says you shouldn't make it, you should wait till it actually gets night. Now the shayla is like this. Sometimes it's cloudy days. And not so simple. If you're not going to make it now, when it's when by Shkia time, you might not be able to get the bracha at all. So this is a question. The Tzitz Eliezer, I left it at home. The Tzitz Eliezer has a tshuva on this. The question is if you could make it later, you definitely have to wait till it's later. But if you can't, it's Canadian winter, and you can't get a moon, and then the last night here, and the moon is coming before Shkia, and it could be you can't get it for another reason, because we'll see, it could be the time ends. It's already after the Zman. If you wait another hour, it'll be after the Zman. We'll see in a moment how that happens. So then, perhaps I should be able to make it, at least by Shkia time, if there's a moon. So he brings a machloikis whether you can actually make it. And he says if one wants to rely on those opinions, he could, and actually make it. If not, he could do it. There's other eitzes how to do the Kiddush Levana. It's brought down, like sometimes you have a suffix bracha, you could say in Aramaic, Brich, Malka di Alma, you could say Brich Rachmana, Malka di Alma, you say it in Aramaic, so that maybe you'll be yoytze the bracha, but it's not a bracha l'vatala. Some say that that's also considered bracha l'vatala. Others have the eight, so you read from the Gemara, or from the Torah. You read from the Gemara that, you read, the Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Elokid Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Baruch Hashem Baruch Hakim. So if you read, it's like you're learning the Gemara, then you could say Baruch Atah Hashem. You could say the whole thing like you're just learning the Gemara. So you could say the Kiddush Levana and the way of reading from the Gemara. Whenever there's a suffix, if I could still be yoytze the mitzvah, and we'll see a lot of cases. So then you could actually read it from the Torah Shulchan Aruch, as if you're just reading the halacha. But what?
To fulfill the mitzvah when you do it?
Yeah, in other words, it's not a bracha l'vatala because you're learning, but you also be yoytze bracha.
If you do the bracha, but not the pesukim, is that a problem? You just said the bracha itself because you know this anyway, but you don't know all the pesukim.
The pesukim afterwards are not part of it. It's just added on. But the main thing is the bracha.
So if you miss those, it's not.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, the main thing is to get the bracha. That's the thing. So. Yeah, so the shaila really comes out like this. The halacha is we don't say Kiddush Levana. It says over here. It says here. You don't make a Kiddush Levana on. You don't make a Kiddush Levana on if Motzei Shabbos is Yom Tov, it says. Let's say it's a Shabbos is Sunday, Yom Tov is Sunday, Monday, 3-day Yom Tov, from Shabbos. So Motzei Shabbos, you want him to do the Kiddush Levana, but it's Yom Tov. So look, we don't do Kiddush Levana when it comes out on Yom Tov, right? Yeah, it's Motzei Shabbos. Ein mekashros Motzei Shabbos shchal ba Yom Tov. That's the halacha. We don't do Kiddush Levana on Shabbos. So who adin? Sagt Mishabur Mekoshcha and Shein Mekachem. I said B'leil Shabbos. We don't do Kiddush Levana Friday night when it's Shabbos. So the question is, why not? Why not? Why can't I make Kiddush Levana on Shabbos? And actually, the place can talk about many times it happens that it's your last chance to do Kiddush Levana is on Shabbos. You couldn't get to Levana the whole week, and now it's Friday night, and you see a beautiful moon. You're walking home from shul, you see a beautiful moon. Maybe it's the last night, maybe it's the second to last night. The question is, I want to chop behind the mitzvah, but it says here you can't do it on Shabbos. Why can't I do it on Shabbos? He brings down here the Shalom Meshiv, Shalom Notenzon, he brings down Zer Rabbis Bashanim that I was noyig in the winter times, and I didn't see the moon until it was getting closer to this man, and it was Friday night. So I would do it myself. I would make a stop in the middle of the street. I see the moon. I would make the bracha, even on Shabbos. He says, but I didn't tell anyone I was doing this. He says, "Haitzura b'kerev levavi u'berchasi b'chashoy." I did it quietly, and I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. So he says, but then what happened was a sefer came out. This is how things start exploding open. A sefer came out, Shasu Shvus Yaakov. And he brings down from the Goyin HaGadol of David Oppenheim, brings down that he halacha l'maisa, he did b'chodesh Shvat, hey Alpayim Tov Pei Hey, let's see, that was the year. That until it was the Leil Shabbos was the 13th of the month, and it was the first time the Levana came out. And then it says he would only be able to do the Moilid wouldn't allow. He was only able to do it either Friday night or Motzei Shabbos, and he was worried he wouldn't get it Motzei Shabbos, so he gave a clap in the shul Friday night, and he told everybody, he was the Rav of the Shul, he told everybody, go outside tonight and do Kiddush Levana. And they wrote a whole tshuva on it. And the Shvus Yaakov wasn't very pleased with him, so he wrote a tshuva back. To how could you argue in Ramah that says you don't do it on Shabbos? So that was the story. So then, once he saw it was already out in the open, so then he says in Shnas Tov Resh Chav Ches, there was a Moil Tishrei, okay, whatever happened there. With Motzei Shabbos again, same story. And he said he saw the Levana on Friday night, so I made a bracha on it, and everybody who asked me, I told them to go ahead and make a bracha, and then he writes a tshuva proving that you're allowed to do it on Shabbos, which Mishabur actually paskins halacha-l'maisa, that if the person's worried he won't get to Kiddush Levana, you can actually do it on Shabbos. What's the shaila? What's the shaila? Why can't you do it on Shabbos? Why shouldn't you be allowed to do it on Shabbos? What? Why can't I do it on Shabbos? So one reason is brought down. All the reasons brought down are alpi things which are hard to wrap your finger around. So, for example, the main reason brought down in the main reason brought down is since the mitzvah is Kabbalah Pnei Ashchida. So let's go first al Piyah Pshat. One reason brought down a Piyah Pshat is that it's like a tefillah. We don't say tefillahs on Shabbos and Yom Tov, right? We only say certain kinds of tefillahs. We don't ask a bakasha. So this is a bakasha that Hashem should be mechadish chadashim. But that seems to be a little bit difficult because it's not really a tchina. It seems more to be a birchas hashvach. So, and then it would fit into what he was being ramas to the Ramah. The Ramami Padu says, "Fakir, it's a simcha to be mekabel page neshchina, and ein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha. We don't mix two simchas together. We're doing, you don't make a chasana on Yom Tov. Now, the Gemara says you can't make a chasana on Yom Tov. Why can't you make a chasana on Yom Tov? Because you don't mix two simchas together. So he says, well, that's perhaps only on Yom Tov. You can't make a simcha. Shabbos is not simcha. Shabbos is Yom Tov is simcha. Shabbos is einig, is different. So perhaps on Shabbos you could do Kabbalah Pnei Shechina. The only time he says the Ramah says you can't do it is when Motzei Shabbos, which is Yom Tov. But maybe on Shabbos you could do it. A, B. This halacha vein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha maybe does not apply if you're going to knock one off. In other words, if you might not be able to do the mitzvah at all, then maybe you could be ma'arv simcha b'simcha. So only you could do it at a different time. They don't have to make the chasen on Yom Tov. Make it after Yom Tov.
What's the big simcha of the moon?
You're being makabel pnei hashchina. What's the big simcha? We'll see it in a minute. I'll show you soon from Bein B'chai. But you're being makabel pnei hashchina. El Malay, if this was the only mitzvah we had dayim, and it's a mitzvah lirkaid, that's why it says it's a mitzvah to dance. That's why we make a dance afterwards. It's a mitzvah to dance. It's a simcha. So if that was the reason, perhaps on Shabbos you could do it, A, and B, perhaps if you had you may miss the whole mitzvah, then also you could do it. So he says they bring down another reason. The other reason is that that there's a problem of tchumen. That it's not clear what it means over here. So the problem of tchumen here the problem of tchumen. Now, I'm not sure if they mean that the moon actually travels. There's a tchum Shabbos. You can't travel 2,000 amos, right? A mil, or it could be midaraisa, perhaps Yud Gimel, Yud Beis Milin, 12 mil. You can't travel on Shabbos. So the moon is further away from us more than that share. And somehow, by us being Mekabel Pnei Hashchina, it's as if we're traveling to the moon and the moon is traveling to us. Not so clear exactly. But there's a problem here of traveling more than the Tchum Shabbos. Perhaps the moon had to travel on Shabbos to get to where it is, more than the Tchum. There's a problem of Tchumen. So the place can go into a question of if there's Tchum L'mayla Me'asara. Now anyone who learned Eruvin knows that you're not allowed to travel on the ground. But if you're 10 Tfachim high, let's say you're on a boat, there's no tchumen on a boat. The tchum only happens when you land to come to port. But when you're out in the sea, since it's much higher than the ground, which is the bottom of the sea, it's more than 10 tefachim up, you're actually out of the tchum, and there's no issur for a person to travel chutz the tchum. The issur is only when you leave the port, and then you land at a different port, which is more than the tchum Shabbos away. It's further away. But the actual traveling of l'mayla me'asara, so it's a shayla in the Gemara, a shayla in the Psak, but it's difficult to understand this problem that the Mekubalim are bringing down. There's a problem of tchum l'mayla me'as that it's out of the tchum Shabbos. So he actually says that even though that's a reason given, he says the Radvaz brings it. He says the tam zeh kolish. It's a weak reason. And he says, Al pisoid besoidim loiba nafshi. Who knows? If you want to go Kabbalah, we don't know Kabbalah. But he says like this. He actually found that the Rashba and the Tshuva, brings it over here. Masha Marta, what you say, Shematzasu Rav Moshe Mikutzi. Okay, this is where the Makar is. Rav Moshe Mikutzi brings out She'ein Mevorchin Birchas. It's a Bali Tosfos. They don't make the Birchas Alavana B'Leil Shabbos. Shema Yesh Tchum and L'mayla Me'asor. There's a problem of Tchum. Vavi Kemakabel Pnei Rabbi L'mayla Me'asor. It's like you're going out to greet your Rebbe and you're going out of the Tchum Shabbos. B'Shalta Mani Yorezeh. So they asked the Rashba, what does he hold about this? Tshuva L'Ikar Tchumen. First of all, we hold there's no Tchum and L'mayla Me'asor. We hold Sof Drabon L'Kula. He says, I don't understand what the problem is. What does that have to do with the tchum? He says, anyways, you can't get up to the moon. Even if it wasn't on Shabbos, you can't travel up to the moon. So if that's that's called being Makabel Pnei Rabbi, anyways, it's so far away. So then what's the difference? You're not traveling there anyways. I mean, that seems to be his problem. So he says, it's as if we're Makabel Pnei Shechina. So that's it. So he says that Shaul Meisha Ben Zof that it's Borad Davar. If the Ramah would have seen the Chuvas Rashba, he wouldn't have said that you can't do it b'Yom Tov for Shabbos. So therefore, he comes out that b'Shas HaTorah, if there's if a person's worried that you're going to miss it, you could actually do it on Shabbos. But there are those that want to say that perhaps if, let's say, you're going to shul Friday night and you see a Levana, so perhaps you should do it before Shabbos is Chal, even though we said you only do it Balayla. Perhaps, maybe you should do it before Shabbos, so you yotze the Ramah, and you just do it earlier. Because there is a moon out to get before Shabbos, but But the Lamaisa, the place can say, no, the Ramah says you don't do it Balayla, you don't do it at night, and that seems to be more based on halacha, they don't do it Balayla. And this on Shabbos is more based on Kabbalah. And Mamela, if there's no way to, you can actually be Kiddush Levana, on Shabbos. That's where he comes out. Lamaisa, there are reasons given why a person should not do on Shabbos, practical reasons. The practical reason is not to do it on Shabbos, because some people are worried you carry the siddur outside. You're going to do it on Shabbos, people are going to carry out the siddur, and you have a problem where there's no area, you're going to have a problem of carrying. So that might be a halachic concern.
There's a shayla about dancing on Shabbos.
What?
There's
a shayla of dancing. There's some bring the reason. Actually, it says some bring the reason down here. The Mishnah brings down here. Where I saw it, but it brings down here. Not taka not to do it for that reason, because a person might come to dance. Might come to dance on Shabbos, and we're knowing not to dance on Shabbos.
So why do we dance then?
Who dances?
Oh, it's not really Shabbos, right? Okay, right.
What? Oh, not on Shabbos. On Shabbos, yeah, you dance not on Shabbos. You can dance, right. But on Shabbos, that's supposed to stop dance. Some say no, it's not the end of the world. It's a Kiddush mitzvah, maybe. Maybe allowed to dance. It depends how Hasidish you are, how Litvish you are. But at the end of the day, dancing is one reason. People don't worry about having it said all these kind of things. So Lamaisa, it's not proper to do it on Shabbos if one could do it another time. But if he's worried that he's not going to have it, so then you could actually do it on Shabbos. Now,
you never know. It's like the 12th or 13th day of the month. You don't know what it's going to be like tomorrow night.
Yeah, so if it's the summer, you're not so concerned. If it's a winter and it's been, the forecast is cloudy, so then it's a concern.
In Moscow last month, there was 8 minutes of sunshine.
That's it.
Wow,
the entire month.
Really?
Yeah, in England it's the same thing. When you go to England too, you have
Really?
clouds for months.
Really? For months?
Yeah.
Replacing everything.
Okay, just a few things here. So we wait till Motzei Shabbos. It's the minhag is to wait till Motzei Shabbos. The halacha is a person should wait 3 days. You shouldn't do it within the first 3 days. Some are makbid to wait a week, not to do it the first week. To do it Motzei Shabbos, but
is there a difference in Sephardim and Ashkenazim on when you do it? Like, because I've heard Sephardim say we don't do it for a week.
They don't do it for 7 days. There are those that are makbid not to do it for 7 days.
But is that a Sephardi Ashkenazi?
Even Ashkenazim, yeah, even Ashkenazim.
The reason for the wait is?
Shows what the reason is. It's you have to wait till it's.
What's the minimum?
What?
What's the minimum we can wait for? 3 days?
3 days. The halacha is that your person should wait 3 days. Has to wait 3 days until it's Just make sure it's large enough. It's really the moon. It's
3 days counted from the moilad.
From the moilad. Now this is from the moilad. It's not from Rosh Chodesh. It's just from the moilad. They announced the moilad. Now the moilad actually they announced is actually in Eretz Yisrael. We're 7 hours behind. In Eretz Yisrael, but the moilad is from Eretz Yisrael's man. And this is very important when we come to the end of the month. We'll see. But so a person should wait 3 days for sure. And then there was a minute to wait till Motzei Shabbos. Why? Because in Motzei Shabbos, a person is dressed up in Shabbos clothing, so that's proper. Ramah even brings down that if a person does Kiddush Levana during the weekday, yesh lilbosh begadim noam, you should dress up. Be makabel parei shechina, you should dress up in proper clothing. The Mishabur says, "Achshav we're not noyig l'daktik bazeh. We're not noyig to go home and get dressed and come back after Mariv. We're not noyig to daktik l'zeh to dress up for Kiddush Levana." But the reason why we do it Motzei Shabbos is for that reason. We're dressed up in our Shabbos clothing when we go and do the Kiddush Levana. But we're makbid to do it Motzei Shabbos, and certain times, let's say Yom Kippur, we'll wait till after Yom Kippur because it's still Mei Hadin until after Yom Kippur when we're finished the din, we come out Zakai and that's a Simcha, so then we do it Motzei Yom Kippur. There was a minhag not to do it. Remember, it's not to do it on a Leil Tainus when a person is fasting, he's still hungry, he didn't go home to eat yet. So technically, Motzei Yom Kippur also, but we're so happy because we finished Yom Kippur that we do it then anyways. We don't care about the food. We're not hungry, Motzei Yom Kippur, you know. But the question is, Motzei Tisha B'Av, the Rambam brings down, also then we don't do, because of Tisha, because of the Avelis, we don't do till after Motzei Tisha B'Av. So the Rambam brings down, no, one should go home and eat first. You shouldn't do Motzei Tisha B'Av. Rambam says you shouldn't do Motzei Tisha B'Av. You should wait actually until the next day, which is Leil Yud Aleph already. You should wait till the next day. But the Mishabur brings down the minhag is to do it Motzei Tisha B'Av. The minhag is the Choyim bring down that we do it then. We do it then. Mekacha Afil Motzei Tisha B'Av. But a person should eat before, should taste something before. Yom Kippur you can't because you have to make Havdalah, but Tisha B'Av you should taste something before. That's what it's brought down. And you should put on your shoes. You should put on your shoes. You're not wearing shoes. You should put on your shoes before you do Kiddush Levana. You're not supposed to do it without wearing shoes. So Yaakov Kamenetsky says, well, today we wear sneakers anyways on Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av. So that's like you're wearing shoes. You could just continue wearing it. Some say no, you have to actually switch into your leather shoes. But the minhag Olam here is to be makel, and since they're wearing something anyway, so that's good enough. It's not shoes for Yom Kippur or Tisha B'Av because it's not leather, but it's shoes for Kiddush Levana. So we just stick with that. So we actually do it then. But the idea is that a person is supposed to be a simcha when he's makabel the Levana, he's makabel the Mordechai Scheiner, and if